Welcome to 1000 PS, welcome to EICMA. We're right in the heart of Milan. Ducati are just over there, but behind me is Norton. That's a real surprise to see Norton here, back in action. They've had a £200 million investment from TVS, and it's really good to see Norton back on the market and back with a stand here at EICMA. So they've got 4 new models. We've got the Manx R, which is essentially their superbike for 2026. 1200cc V4, we estimate over 200 horsepower, touchscreen dash, 8-inch, full rider aids, IMU, traction control. Looks absolutely stunning, and all that bodywork is carbon fibre. Then we've got the sister bike to the Manx R, which is the standard Manx. That's the naked version of that 1200 V4. And then they've not gone crazy. They're not just producing poster bikes for the next generation. We've got the 2 Atlas versions, just under 600cc parallel twins, one with spoke-to-one wheels, one with standard wheels. But for me, it's just great to see Norton back in the market, and hopefully we'll be riding these bikes shortly. So we're over at EICMA, we're over at Norton. This is the phenomenal Manx Norton R. We had a quick look at the bike yesterday, but what I would hope you can just run us through some of the technical details and what we can expect from this bike when I get to ride it very shortly. Please, Bart.
Very, very short. Actually, we've just filled it up with gas. We're ready to go. You can head it straight out the door.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. So the bike, starting with the powertrain, 72-degree V4. Yep. The 72-degree V4 with a phase pulse firing order, so irregular firing order. Yep. Cassette transmission, 206 horsepower, but the most important thing is the torque. 130 Newton meters of torque, and 75% of that, about 100 Newton meters, is already available at 5,000 RPM.
So this is like from that, this is not, you know, Panigale V4R revving to 17,000 RPM. This is really torquey kind of road bike than a race bike.
So you and I have been on road rides together.
We still have our license.
We still, because the police didn't catch us. But when you're riding on the road, you know that you need the torque. We're not in a spec sheet war with other manufacturers. We want to bring power back to the riders that are really riding these bikes on the road. And in order to do that, you need torque. That's where the real acceleration is, right? So we're focused not only on maximum torque, but bringing that torque as far down in the RPM range as possible. We've done a lot of data acquisition with numerous riders all over Europe, track riding, street riding, competitors' bikes, our bikes. And what we realized is that 99, and this is a real number, 99% of the riding is done below 8,000 RPM. Right? With the gearing we have, with the power that we have in first gear, to get to the red line, you've got to be going 140 some kilometers an hour. Right? The people are not seeing the red line in 5th gear. They're just not. So if we want the people really to experience what acceleration is like through all of the gears, through all the rev range, torque. And that's where we're focused with this bike. And it wheelies really, really well. When we get to the electronics package, a clear full suite of electronics, so launch control, cornering traction control, 6-axis IMU, so we're controlling everything in function of lean angle, controlling the pitch, both forward and back with the electronic suspension with Marzocchi. The only bike in class that has a linear potentiometer built into the front forks, as well as one on the rear shock. So we know the exact pitch of the bike, we know the speed of the front forks, we know the acceleration of the front forks, we know the position of the bike due to the 6-axis IMU. We can start to anticipate what's coming next. For example, you're under hard acceleration. Before the front tire even comes off the ground, we can look at pre-wheelie. We understand what the speed of the opening up of the front fork. We can say, we can see it on the potentiometer. We can see what's about to happen and start to predict what to do to make sure that we've got it under control.
So just to clarify, other manufacturers use algorithms to estimate what the front end is doing, or using virtual sensors, where what you're actually doing is you've got a potentiometer, which is a device that actually physically measures what the fork is doing.
Absolutely right. If you look on a MotoGP bike, they're not using algorithms. The front GP bike has a linear potentiometer on the front fork and on the rear shock. All of the other manufacturers in this category on production bikes right now have a sensor on the rear shock, and then only a accelerometer on the front fork, where they're trying to engineer back what's happening. We're measuring it directly, and because we can measure it directly, we can react quicker.
And then a lot of questions we've had online at 1000 PS is it a real bike, as in, is it a concept? But this is Euro 5 done, we're done.
Yeah, well, this is a bike, everything you see here is already off tool. These are bikes that have already been going through all the homologation process. The power has been homologated, emissions test has been done, noise test, drive-by noise, you know how complicated that is. And EMC, complete vehicle EMC testing, all these things are already in process.
So finally, when will we actually see this bike on the road, or when will we actually see the bike come out of production? Because this is going to be produced in Birmingham. This is not produced in India or China.
The Manx and the Manx R are produced in Birmingham, in Solihull.
And when will we see it on the road?
You'll see these bikes on the road. Actually, now that we've introduced the brand, now we can start driving ourselves the bikes on the road. So you'll be seeing them around. They'll just be with Norton test riders, but you'll see them on the road at the end of January, beginning of February.
Really looking forward to riding it, and I really appreciate your time. Cheers, Brian. Thank you. So the big question will be, what will the Manx R actually be like? Well, I was lucky enough to ride the old generation 1200 V4, which was about 170, 180 horsepower, and that was a good road bike. And the old bike did pretty well at the TT with Josh Brooks and Dave O'Johnson lapping 131, 132 mile an hour average. So the chassis was there. So if Norton have put in a huge amount of investment, which we know, I know they've done a huge amount of test miles, it should be proven. I don't think it's going to be competing with bikes like the Panigale V4R, and I don't think it's going to be pushing for lap times. I think it's going to be more of a road bike, more of a statement than it is going to be a race bike that's going to be cutting up fast laps. It's even questionable if Norton will launch the bike on track or they'll launch it on the road, because it's not an out-and-out race bike. This is very much a sports bike for the road that's supposed to be desirable, supposed to be high-end. I guess it's almost like Aston Martin, maybe, rather than Ferrari, where you would expect Lamborghinis and Ferraris to be driven on track, and the Aston Martin is a fast kind of Grand Tourer, which kind of this might be. It looks impressive, the finish is impressive, the quality and components they've used, and the attention to detail. Like, where's the exhaust? Look how amazing those wheels look. Where's all the bodywork fasteners? To me, it looks like the designers led the project and the engineers had the really difficult job of producing it, because it looks like there was no sacrifice for design, and that's really difficult. Inside there is a V4 1200. Inside there is a very complex exhaust network. Inside there is electronic Marzocchi suspension. But it looks like a bike from the future, maybe even something electrical. And who knows what it's going to sound like. That's all important. But I can't wait to ride it. I think it's going to be really interesting. It's got multiple rider modes. We know they've done countless test miles, so the proof will be in the pudding. But my expectations are of it to be a great road bike, but possibly not the fastest bike around a track, but still awe-inspiring. Hopefully I'll be riding it early next year. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you want to know any more technical about the bike, please fire some questions below. We're going to have many videos on this bike because it's one of the bikes of the show. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.